this camera's been rolling for a little bit.
Okay.
I did 24 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Hello. I don't even know what to call my podcast because I don't have a podcast title. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I don't have a podcast title. Hey, welcome back. If you've been following me on my weight loss journey, I have a very, very special guest with me today. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. So without further ado, this is Adrienne, Coach Faison. Hey. So hello.
Hey.
And thanks for joining me.
Anytime.
I know that sounded so like informal or formal, but we have history and we go back.
Yeah.
And we were connected probably the last 3 years, right?
Yes.
I moved back home to Alabama in 21 and I got acquainted with family. This is family. And we have been in and out. Well, not in and out. I've been in and out with my journey, but you were really focused on losing weight, right? Yes. And getting healthier, whatever you want to call it. Yes. And I was a little more stubborn and I was like, I have to really figure this out. And I'm just keeping it real. I was really stubborn with myself.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got stuck mentally. And something was like, no, it wasn't something. I know exactly what it was. It was my blood work.
Okay. Eye opener.
It was my blood work.
Gotcha.
And I was like, this is not good. I'm too young for this. I want to fix it. So my doctor said, well, I can manage it for you or you fix it yourself.
I love that.
And that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was really that point blank simple. Yeah. And I said, bet. Yeah. And it took a little while still to kind of get the momentum going. And it was easier to get in the gym. It was more so when you come home, work from home, school's at home. I got junk in the pantry.
Yes.
That was the hardest part.
Yes.
So once I kind of ironed that out, it was easier for me to say, this is now working and this is making me feel better.
Yes.
Because I didn't like, being a 35-year-old, if you will, because this is when it started, sitting around the house during COVID, eating and getting sluggish, being not productive.
Yes.
And this is going the wrong way. This is not my lifestyle at all.
Absolutely.
You know me. Yeah. I've been active most of my life, sports, military. Yeah. I've always been moving.
Yes.
And when I was kind of getting in this sunken place, if you will, it wasn't feeling good.
Yeah.
And I came to realize, like, I don't want this to be the way Chanté goes.
Yeah.
This is not my story. It isn't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure you can share your, like, what was your point of, I need to fix this?
Mine was more of not liking what I saw in the mirror.
Really?
I always loved myself.
Sure.
I was happy with just a happy person. I've always been a happy person. But I just didn't like what I was representing. I didn't like me. And other family members like Andy, your dad, my husband, wound up having health issues. And I knew that a lot of it was just the way we were eating. My daughter came up with pre-diabetes. And
how old was she?
17.
At the time?
Yes, at the time.
Wow.
So I just knew that I was next. That's just how I felt about it. And I loved him, but I was just angry because I knew it was just resulting in us always going out to eat, how we were eating. And just a lot of lifestyle.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to, the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So what was the first thing that you like, I need to change this? Because I know it's a process. You have to figure it out, right? It's not like, I know exactly what it is. I'm going to change it. It's a trial, right?
Yeah, it's a
so
trial.
What was it for you?
Staying stuck that way was a lot harder for me than it was for me to start learning all of the things that I had to learn about eating, the gym. And like you say, the gym was easy. I fell in love with that.
Sure.
It was the food that I couldn't figure out because just naturally, like most people, I'm like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to eat what's healthy for me. And I was still making poor choices.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
And that's a good point because when you go to the gym, you're moving. I'm moving.
Yeah.
But when I go home and you step on that scale is like, this is not moving. Yeah. You moving, but this ain't moving.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out something else, right?
Yes.
So because there's a lot of fads and diets out there, right?
Yes.
And I know that can be very encouraging and discouraging at the same time.
Yes.
So did you ever go into any of the fads to try to? You tried,
I did.
And how did that go?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So like you, I was in college, online school. Sure. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to the gym and I'm gonna do keto. I'm gonna cut out carbs, and I'm looking at the family, like my daughter and my husband, and like Andy, like y'all can eat, but I'm not eating bread. I'm not eating. So I did.
And did they support you when you said that? Like, what's the?
Laughed.
I know, because it's family.
Like
yeah. Like,
girl,
you
you better sit your butt down. I'm gonna eat bread.
Right.
And so here I am, and I stuck to it for like little over 2 weeks. And the entire time I was miserable. My head was pounding. The scale was moving. I was going to the gym, and I'd come home and tell my husband, I'm like, I don't feel like, he's like, let me tell you something. He was like,
oh gosh,
you got to eat if you want to lift weights. He said, you're not going to be able to pick that stuff up if you are not eating
depleted,
and cutting out. And I'm just like, but how am I going to lose weight? So it was just,
makes bad.
Yeah. So girl, eventually, I was just miserable, and I quit. So I started back eating carbs when I ate carbs.
Sure.
Of course, the 12 pounds came back and some courtesy pounds.
Sure.
So then it was just right back to square one. Mm-hmm. I kept going with the gym, but I was still, searching.
So you were like a self-taught, independent, figure it out type of. That's how you were. Okay, gotcha. Because I know you're a health coach.
Yes.
Fitness coach. What do you want to call it? How do you let people know?
A coach.
A coach. Okay. So
a coach.
Lifestyle, wellness, lifting, you inquire or people inquire your service for that. Yes. So, okay. So you have these people who are coming to you, hey coach, I need help with X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Now, I had this thought last night when I knew we were going to talk today.
Okay.
People who really see real results, it may be, because I'm not on that side of where you are with coaching.
Okay.
But for me and for you, we realized, and I think a lot of people realize I'm in a situation I don't want to be in anymore, and I know I need to fix it.
Right.
So if I'm a self-starter, I'm recognizing this ain't me.
Right.
What does it take? We already know it takes some discipline. Really?
I'm going to say this.
It does.
I'm going to say this. The easiest way for me to look at it when I was starting and just didn't have a clue, I detached myself from the outcome. I had to chase the habit first.
That's true.
Chase all the habits.
That's true.
Chase the habits and detach yourself from the outcome. Learn to love fitness. Do it like you love it.
Exactly.
And this is stuff I'm pulling off of other creators and other great fitness minds in the industry. But stuff like that just stuck with me.
So are you one of those people who likes routine? Do you how do you feel about,
No. Like, I'm going to tell you this now. I have a lot of people that know me in real life, or maybe some just grow close to me through social media. And like, what's your gym schedule? What days do you work out?
Right.
Or some people say, what time are you going to be at the gym?
That's another thing to get attached to. And
I
get it.
Yeah. And so it's like, no, I don't have a Monday, Tuesday. I just have a little, thing that I look at on my phone, and I know that, hey, I went today, and so no, I'm not a
gotcha.
Like, I try to get, 3 days minimum, 4 days maximum.
Sure.
But 3 minimum.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
When I started, starting, because it's like, this is another day one, but that's fine. And I want people to know that it's okay to realize I might have some sites of regression. Like me, I might revert back. Yeah. I might get, like you said, you started something, you lost the weight, you realize this is not working. I'm not feeling.
Yes.
I don't feel good.
Yes.
It's working, but I'm not feeling good.
Yes.
And people have to realize that, okay, there might be a time I see results, but I'm not happy with how I'm getting them.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Keto for me.
And that's interesting because that was my go-to. And I treated myself to carbs when I knew I needed the energy.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
When I felt like, you know what, I'm a little low. Yeah. I need to eat some carbs. Potatoes and rice was like my thing. If I knew I was working, especially working out legs.
Oh God, yeah.
I need some energy today. But my startup was, all right, let's eat in a window, because I realized that's what was hurting me before.
Yes.
And I do want to touch on, eating habits, not just what we eat, but how often we eat and what works for your schedule and what works for your lifestyle. How much energy are you burning throughout the day?
Yes.
Again, I'm home working and school's here. I'm not really having to go out and do anything arduous or anything, strenuous on my body. So I'm not going to burn a lot of fuel. Does it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
But the days I know I'm going to the gym, I'm going to need some energy, I have to eat differently.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
it make sense?
Say, you taught me that, Tay, and you may not really have given you credit for that. And I am right now, this is the time, you and a client of mine, Beck Little.
Okay.
And I noticed I'm just like, because right off the rip, I always teach my clients, hey, let's worry about your calories and your protein.
Sure.
Your fats and carbs fall where they may.
Sure.
Unless they tell me that they have like pre-diabetes or they are diabetic, then I go back and tweak things a little bit. But girl, yeah, it makes a difference. You know, it really makes a difference.
Sure.
I don't like to tell just on set, just right off the rip.
Sure.
Like, oh, let's count carbs and fats and count.
It's a base by base situation.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But counting carbs, like, you know, doing low carbs is I've seen where it's made a difference in my body.
Okay.
Just listening to you.
Really?
So, yeah. So like,
I didn't realize that.
Girl, yeah, it makes all the difference.
I didn't realize who's listening. You just don't know. I'm like, she got it together. What you listening for?
I would get trust me.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you're still figuring it out as you're going.
And still figuring out as I'm going. And I always tell people I'm always open to something new when the evidence presents itself. Absolutely.
Of course. So whose voice out there was it that was like, you know, kind of inspirational or inviting for you to take on like some ideas? Because I know there's a lot of information out there that you can be like, this is too generic and you're going to do more harm than good. So
absolutely. I'm going to tell you some like higher up wellness. And I don't know why I can never remember his name, and he said it before, but he has a podcast on YouTube, and he's on TikTok.
Okay.
Higher Up Wellness. He's amazing. Yeah. And Kenzie Vance, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she's a female bodybuilder.
Okay.
And Julia Renee.
I know who that
love
is.
her. Girl. Okay. Oh my God. Like,
I get it. Yeah,
that's
for sure.
My girl. Yeah. I love her so much.
Have you ever reached out to her?
No, I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, no, I didn't reach out to her, but I was the first to comment on one of her videos on TikTok, and she hearted us, and I feel like a groupie.
You should reach out to her.
Yes,
yeah. They like to hear that kind of stuff, for sure.
And I've had one female bodybuilder. She's a little bit more extreme, but I love her. And you could ask your dad, you know, Maddie. She's a pro athlete. She's in the big leagues.
Okay.
And, oh my God, I messaged her about competing, and it took her a few weeks, maybe a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And when she messaged me back, girl, I was like, oh my God.
That's so funny. Right.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when Jesse Lee had followed me. I was like, how do you find me?
Girl, when I Googled who that man was,
that's so funny.
I felt like he was
right.
He's hilarious.
Anyway, so you have some voices out there that kind of helped you. Yes. Now, I was saying something earlier regarding, you know, discipline and knowing yourself. What kind of person am I to be? Am I disciplined enough? You know.
Yeah.
So, what was your discipline level at? You think on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Where were you at when you first started?
When I first started, for me, I hate to bring this into the equation, but you know, a lot of my followers do know about my past drug addiction.
Sure.
And I suffered with, I was addicted to methamphetamines and fentanyl and opioids. Fentanyl is just something that is hit like heroin. So walking away from that, just being able to quit that.
Sure.
I felt like my discipline level was like, I'm like, if I can get past that.
That's true.
I know, and I seen it, and I look back over my life once I got the clarity to know that, God, it's crazy. I let it take over my life, and
wow, that's a good. I mean, you didn't have to give me a 10. That's a 10, because if you're able to walk away from something that had you, you know, at one point, and naturally you're abstaining from that. Yeah. And I think abstaining is a significant factor when it comes to clarity.
Yes.
And that's what helped me in the beginning. I know, you know, fasting.
Your discipline is always,
well, you know, I had some hiccups, but fasting is what brought me clarity to abstain from freaking food. Yeah. I had to really stop, Chante. Yes. You don't need this right now. What are you doing? You're sitting on the couch. You need energy for what? Where are you going? You know, you need to go walk Oliver. That's what you need to do.
You just have to get in that
I had to break that. And again, the clarity came in, and I was able to see what was really in front of me and where I was headed and where I needed to be and what I needed to change.
Yes.
Or adjust, rather. Well, change. It was a lot that changed. So fasting, how do you feel about fasting in general?
In general, okay, when I first started, fasting was something that kind of came, when I was searching things, and, but it's never really that big of a deal. But
sure.
When I would look over things like, how are the ladies that look like I want to look, I'm looking at it on social media.
Yeah.
How are they achieving this?
Sure.
And so a lot of the times it was, I was like, oh, stay away from intermittent fasting. You don't have to cut carbs. You don't have to. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Fasting to me kind of gave me a mindset of, I felt like I was telling myself I would have to starve for.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like the freedom of just being able to eat, you know, all throughout.
Sure.
And so just right off the rip, it just wasn't appealing to me.
Sure.
That's because I don't know everything that I know now.
Yeah.
Now that I know everything that I know now, if you can recreate your environment to fast,
exactly,
I'm all for it. I can see where it's just like anything else.
Sure.
Like I tell people, you have to pick something that you can, that resonates with
sure,
you. Sure. So like how you recreated your lifestyle to do it, I can see it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm going to say, like, for instance, I do plan, it's in my plans to compete one day.
Yeah.
And given that I have all the knowledge that I have about food now, yes, I would use fat because I know how to, you know, bring it into my life and also fall back to what I know, like calorie counting to sustain my results.
That's a good answer. That's a good outlook as well. Because I remember sharing with you, like, hey, this is what I'm eating today. These are my calories. And, you know, I didn't get into the whole weighing thing, but I was realizing 4 ounces of chicken is 4 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces is, you know, of protein. So
you have common sense and book sense. So let me clear this up now. Being like the mindset, like you are just somebody that, man, oh my God, I just look up to you so much, Chante. You are, it's almost to some degree, and this, it's like you're intimidating to a degree.
Really? Yeah. Intimidating?
Yeah, like at first, you come like, oh my God, you just got
join me.
But I know better now. Right. But it's just like, I can tell people if I would have start fasting off the rip, I would have been like, okay, let me try to eat.
Yeah, that's a lot. You know, it's a lot.
And then but when it was time for me to eat, and I was in the process of training a young lady that made this mistake, and I was like, no, you know, let's get a food first. You just don't skip the tracking part so you can understand. And so me personally, I was like, okay, I got between 11 and 6. All right, I'm gonna go. This is a load. I can eat this many calories. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. And I would have never took the time to learn about calories. So at the end of the day, if I still would have been going over my calories throughout that fast, I would have been one of like, fasting doesn't work.
Right.
And maybe like, well, let me try to watch what I eat. And I just would have been miserable because I didn't have any.
I get it. Yeah. And it can be very, again, a con and a pro. Yeah. I'll say that. You can find your pros and your cons with fasting. And some people do abuse it. And some people do have this weird connotation that, well, let me say this. Because this is my experience when I started fasting. And maybe this will kind of tie in what I'm trying to say. When I first started fasting, it was during Passover. Mm-hmm. So it was more of a intimate and spiritual thing for me.
Nice.
And I don't think I told too many people that, but I was like, you know, we always talk about to be like Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
So if he has said these things, you know, hey, you know, he's given us guidelines.
Yes.
And I asked myself, why have I never thought about doing it? Why not? And of course, I have other, you know, things I still have to iron out. But I said, let me not use this, but let me try.
Try it.
I did 3 out of 7 days, and I don't think I was really prepared for it. Mm-hmm. But I felt clarity. I had clarity. I had, you know, an open mind to do something like that, and to want to pray on that. That was that's what helped me, I believe, the most. Yes. So to just jump into fasting, I don't think I would have done it without that first.
Gotcha.
Me.
Gotcha.
Some people have just started fasting and, you know, they still stuck with it or do it. I don't know. But for me, my situation was I was on a spiritual journey also.
Nice.
And I was praying on it, and I just knew, Chante, something's has to change. So from there, I said, you know what, I started researching anyway, but I was looking into intermittently fasting. Yeah. And I said, you know, I think I told you this. My lifestyle when I was in the military was that.
Yeah.
I've been doing it all my life. I
have clients that's like, you know, and they're like, Callie, like, well, I was in the military and we did fasting. That, you know, get it off quick. Let's get, you know, I bet you're going to be active. You don't have to, you know, result back into like, okay, I did intermittent fasting. Now let me see.
Yeah.
I must be how to raise these kids. You're like, you know,
that's a lot. It's true.
You know,
it's true.
You know, come home from work and sit in front of the computer or work from home. You know, you're intermittent fasting, your basic training, I'm sure, off to the Army, and everything's, you know, you're still young. So, girl, oh my God.
So when I revisited that, I said, this is so familiar. My body is even recognizing this. And it was, my energy was going up, and I didn't feel sluggish during the day. Mm-hmm. And my appetite was more so of nutrients, minerals, and vitamins.
Yeah. And see,
that's it.
And see, here's the thing. Yeah. See, and with you, you have like just a certain type of class that I don't. That I'm learning, okay?
There you go.
So me, it's just like
you're sitting here with a blouse. I think you got blouse.
I was like, I would have been like, I would have told Andy, I would have told, my daughters, look, it's 11. I can break my fast. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go.
Right.
I want to go get some chicken wings. I want to go get
reward myself every time.
Every
yeah,
time.
That's so funny.
Girl, yeah. So, that was just one thing, just trying to, recreate my environment for that. And then too, I'm a big breakfast person. I was
okay.
So I was just like, I wanted to be able to lose weight without having to fear
sure
food
sure. I think you do that pretty well. You share your meals in the mornings, or that you make the eggs and the cottage cheese and toast. So you've shared like your day-to-day openly. Very transparent, very candid, and people love that. They do. I mean, I look at them like, there she goes. And is that, I know it's so weird because I never understood social media where people share everything, but some people really need visuals.
Yes, yeah.
People are visual learners.
Yes,
and so that's how I look at you. Like, she's showing or teaching.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I know this about you, and I love it. And your dad is like, to a degree, you just hate stupid people. Well, I'm a stupid person, okay? And I'm sometimes just being around y'all is just overwhelmed because I'm like, I feel like they're gonna be like,
you're still figuring it out.
Like, Dad,
we are all
figuring it out. Her is like, Chante, I don't know what I'm doing. That's how I feel. Because so I'm a give it to me like you would a 3-year-old.
Sure.
Tell it to me, like, let me see, like, so how did it happen? You're there to go, Adrienne, all you got to do it. No, Andy.
Yeah.
Adrienne, you don't remember? No. Let me show me. If you don't have a picture of it, I can't.
Yeah.
And he knows
that's
me.
So funny.
Yeah, so that's how I am with people. It's like, let me do this I'm using the food scale. So it's like enough questions come like, no, let me break this down.
Yeah.
This is what you're used to, sitting the plate on, adding food on the plate. But you can sit a container here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to zero it out.
Right.
And so I just walk it down so people can, because there's nothing more miserable than seeing someone that has a nice physique on social media. And there's a lot of girls like that.
Sure.
They're working out, their body looks great. They may even show you where they were bigger or larger in size or overweight. And then they have a healthy plate of food. But that's not, it's not. And a lot of people make that mistake. Well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to start eating avocado.
Right.
And it's like, but I can't get, and it just leaves a bad, I tried eating healthy. I tried going to the gym and I didn't get any results. I can't lose weight.
Right.
No, let me show you the method behind the madness of this.
Right.
And I'm going to show you the work that it takes. So I like for
that works. That works for some people.
Okay. What people have to understand about me is that I absolutely love everything about weighing food, tracking calories, in the gym.
So you love the whole process.
I love it. So I don't do it continuously now because necessarily that I have to.
Sure.
Okay. The average person, I would say, if they took it seriously and track calories, I'm just going to say just at least a year.
Okay.
I always tell them, if this is something you don't love it like I do, I get it. Learn what portion sizes look like for you. Not the recommended on the back of the box.
Right.
Not what this person is eating. Not how many servings or ounces of chicken she's eating. You may want more. You may want less. But at least learn what it looks like by using the food scale, measuring cups, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Preferably a food scale.
Sure.
So that way, you can learn to eyeball your portions. And then you can, stop tracking after a year. I always tell people, give it about a month. Say a month, maybe 6 weeks, and just weigh in. Check on your weight. And if it's, weight fluctuations are normal.
It is going to fluctuate.
If you're like 170 and it's 173, 174, 170, 170, that's fine.
I would say hide that scale until 3 months later.
Yeah, exactly.
At minimum. It will drive you crazy. It will.
It's a lot easier
it's discouraging.
to lose 10 pounds than it is to let it turn into 15, 20, and 30.
Yeah.
So if you get on the scale and you're 170, 173, 174, hey.
But your clothes are going to tell you before the scale will tell you for sure.
Absolutely. And that too.
Yeah. Which is a pitiful part because I had wasted a lot of money
on
clothes, girl. Because you remember I was buying stuff from like Shein because it's priced well, and I was like, okay, I know I'm still losing weight, but I need something to hold me.
Yeah.
So my clothes were getting bigger, and I had started buying clothes, and I was like, now I got to get not more. I was like, I had to have these tailored because they're still big on me. Yeah. But so with the scale and measuring your, getting your ratio is probably more beneficial than that scale because you want to know where am I losing the weight first of all. If you see your pants are getting looser, you're losing your waist. And this is what I was noticing because most of my weight, well, it was everywhere for sure, but it was in the midsection.
Yes.
And it's hard to tell, am I bloated or is that fat? Is that visceral fat? What fat is this? And I realized, based on how I was sleeping, my energy, it was mostly visceral fat.
Yes.
And of course, that's the worst fat, first of all. And it's hard to say how to identify that because when I do my blood work, it's not going to tell me that.
Right.
It's not going to tell me unless, I have high blood pressure but everything was normal. And the interesting part is when I was finally getting to the point I need to talk to someone and the doctor referred me to a dietitian. Usually the dietitian said, go talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I went and talked to the dietitian. And I think I told you the story and that didn't go well.
That's why I'm already laughing. Yeah.
It did not go well.
I tell people you have to look the part. And I've even had a client, and this was just, I've dealt with this with a family member before.
Sure.
When they're just not ready. She reminded me of somebody close to me. And she just wasn't ready. And she's like, well, I think that it's just, years and years of, bad, what is it, genetic generational bad habits. And I'm going to get a dietitian to help me with it. And I'm just like, girl, and to me, sometimes, and I'm not throwing any shade.
Sure.
But either the dietitian is probably skinny, somebody's always been skinny, or either they are overweight. And they're going to...
She was overweight, and she kept telling me to accept it and rest in it. Like, you're a woman. You're going to change. And I was like, well, but this is not how I look. Excuse my French, but I know me. Yes. You don't know me.
Yes.
I was hoping to get really some insight on asking, what is your diet like? Yeah. How's your lifestyle? Yeah. She didn't ask any of that. No, ma'am, this is how... No, ma'am, I don't know. This is not...
Yeah.
All right. You on YouTube?
On YouTube.
They don't even see me, but I want to hear something that I can hear.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
But Dr. Berg was one of the first people I found on YouTube, and his approach was very, because I'm a very analytical person. I like information. I like numbers, and I'm really one of those people. And he would say things, and I would have to pause and go look it up. What this means? What is this? And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because my lifestyle before was this, and I was like, let's just try.
Yeah.
And when I was able to put my prescriptions to the side, that's when I knew I was better.
Yes.
I will show you offline the prescriptions. It's a box full.
Wow.
A box full.
Wow.
You wouldn't believe it. And I was like, I have not touched one in like the past maybe 4 months.
Yeah.
And even before that, I will still need some assistance, but I realized like I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
So my diet, me moving.
And I know it works because, like I say, my daughter was pre-diabetic and she changed it. She changed her eating. She lost weight. She started, at the gym. She does really good. And then I watched Andy. I just watched it, just everything.
Sure. Yeah. I was having some real difficult problems.
And I love that what the doctor told you.
Yeah.
You can fix. What did he say?
He said, I can manage it for you, but you can fix it. Do you want to fix it? I can manage it. And it's true.
Yeah.
Because they would give us a prescription, sign us off, and send us home and do the next person the same way. Way. Oh, yeah. And he was really honest with me, and I appreciated that. And it didn't take much longer for me to say, you know what, you do have to control this.
Yeah.
You're the only one. Who else is going to do it for you? And it simply was just how often I was eating, what I was eating. And I talked to someone and he kind of put me onto it and I started looking into it, but I'm not really sure on it. But eating according to your blood type.
I want to look into that.
It's very interesting. And I think I told you I shouldn't eat chicken.
Yeah.
It's a food not to eat. And I know how I feel when I do eat chicken. And I was like, is there some truth to this?
I believe it is because it's another, I can't think of her name. Not another bodybuilder that I follow, and she was speaking about that. And I mean, if she told me to walk outside and eat grass, I'm gonna believe it, because she's just like, I mean, it's just like, yeah. So, and she was speaking about that.
So, mostly, I do well with high protein meals, and it will hold me all day. Nice. And it's interesting because before I thought I have to eat breakfast, I have to have lunch, I have to have dinner. And I realized, just listen to your body. Yeah. That's really what it came down to for me is, how do you feel? Do you need some energy? Yeah. Then go eat if you need some energy. Do you need to hydrate? And that's one of the biggest differences that I swear changed my entire appetite.
And so you take things so serious, Tay. Like, I mean, and I love that about you, girl. Because I'm just sitting here thinking about, like, this would have been my take on that. Okay. I'm just a silly person. I'm so unserious. And most people,
oh God,
like, am I hungry? Am I intuitive eat? Girl, yeah, you hungry. Yes, you're hungry.
I know. It's so funny.
And I love that. And a lot of people don't, like I say, and I find that most people that are successful with, like I say, because I have the Higher Up Wellness, he uses intermittent fasting. Sure. I love him. He's just,
I'm looking to him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's great. But he does, calorie counting and tracking too. I just love him so much. But he's like you, intelligent, off the rip. This wasn't like me and most people, just, we not brought up on it. We're not taught these things in school. And it's just taught.
Well, I wasn't either.
Yeah. I don't know. You've always been smart. You like to read, you know what I mean? Just, girl, we don't.
I like understanding. I'm not smart. I can remember things. Smart.
And that's another thing, So I just like all the questions I'm sitting there thinking, like, I could be like, are you hungry? Yes, you're always hungry. What are you talking about?
That's real. But let me tell you what changed my appetite was taking electrolytes the first thing in the morning.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. He speaks on that too.
Okay. Yeah. I feel a difference. I'm like, I wasn't hungry. I was dehydrated.
Yes.
I feel better. There's more minerals in that. So I was like, this is actually better.
I need to actually get some. Sometimes I'll take just like a little bit of salt.
That's
like
fine.
A pinch of salt.
Yeah.
And I did it this morning.
That's fine. Yeah, that helps. It helps a lot. We do need sodium. There's a lot of things we actually need. Cholesterol is not bad. It's not the bad thing. It's just how you get your cholesterol. Right. High heated cholesterols and unsaturated fats may do more harm. Yes. This is just a lot of reverse, I guess information I had to revert, get out of my system, data dump, if you will. Yeah. And not that there's any truths or untruths, is what is applicable to Chanté. Gotcha. It may not be applicable to Sarah or John or whoever else. It's a case by case basis, and it's your experience, and treat it like a trial. Oh yeah, try your food. Yeah. Okay, that food didn't do good. We did not use that. It's weird because before I could not eat tomatoes. Oh wow. I thought no more tomatoes. Yeah. Not the problem. It wasn't the problem. Yeah. It was Chanté and. What is going on? What did you do? Something's off because you ate tomatoes when you were a kid. You took them. You had tomatoes. How you can't eat them no more? What happened? Right. So it was. I think the fast really kind of helped me reset, if you will. I know it sounds really strange and weird. But it really helped me.
Gave you clarity.
It did give me clarity, and it allowed my body to really do what it needed to do. Gotcha. Girl, you just ate breakfast. Let me.
Because I didn't realize how much weight you until I went
50 pounds, honey.
Old podcast, and I was like, oh my god, yeah,
50 pounds.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
And it started coming on around like 2020, I think. And it's weird because I was like, I don't remember stepping on the scale weighing 170. When did I weigh 180? What's going on? Yeah. You're almost 200. What the hell is going on?
And that's the easiest way to look at it. Because look, and people want to downplay it and act like, like you say, we're just women, and and then and sometimes, especially Black people, it's just we want to accept and conform.
It's to weird.
It's so weird. And like
weird.
I say, I can take that maybe or that we're more curvy. Sure. But we were not meant to be big. I don't care what anybody says.
It's true.
And you just said something that made me think. You said, I'm almost 200, 189. I'm almost 200. At 247, I love my husband so much. And he told me, and I looked at him, and I wanted him to do for me what a lot of men will do for women. Sure. Oh, you're not that big. Well, you just need to lose a little bit of your stomach. I said, Andy, I'm 247. He said, Adrienne, he said, listen, I'm 3-something, and I need to lose some weight. He was like 360, 340. Sure. He said, just look at it like you X amount. He's better yet, look at it like this. He said, baby, you 50 pounds from 300. And I was like, wow. But I was like, okay.
He has a way of,
he's a realist. Yeah, making you think,
Sure.
And then he's like, you're 5'4", and he loved me. Always, he never made me feel like, oh, and we tease. That's just how our house is, We tell fat jokes. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But everybody in the house was fat. And even now that I'm skinny, everybody was so used to it. Excuse me.
Look,
I'm not skinny, but
this is not lookable to me.
I know. And she's crying because she's so lit. She's like, I want to gain some weight.
Tell her don't rush it, honey.
Yeah, don't rush it.
Yeah.
But, even now, I said that wrong. I'm not going to say that I'm skinny. I don't know.
Sure.
But just smaller. Even my oldest daughter, we just tease each other all the time. Fat this, fat that. She's like, Mom, sit your fat. It's just a thing. It's just how we, how we have fun and how we play.
I get it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how.
Yeah. I don't remember the weight seeing.
Yeah.
It's weird how you kind of I'm filling out, or I'm getting curvy, or girl, that's not where curves go. Curves don't go in your gut.
Myself, right? Yeah, but that was the thing.
Curves
I was like,
don't go in your gut.
I was like, my stomach. Like, no, this is.
Yeah. So I had to and I talked to my mom even this past weekend. I said, why y'all let me do that? Like, why y'all tell me, girl, I'm gonna grow you? And they were looking at the photos like, you were? I was like, I was.
And I'm going to share this, because even my daughter, and it is, like I say, it's just conformity, and it's just how we are to a degree. Mm-hmm. But I'm so glad I was able to break that cycle. But she would just look at me when I first started my journey, and my daughter's always struggled with her weight. But I will say this, and it's not making an excuse for her, because she's lost a little over 40 pounds.
Nice.
And she's still working.
Yeah.
But food is her drug. But number one, she had a mother that was addicted to drugs. So I wasn't able to be there for her the way I should have. My mom raised my girls, and I made my own video on my page, explaining that. But anyway, so, just missing what every girl wants. And
of course.
Own mom, she turned to food. She's always straight A student in school, and just, she had a little friends, but food was her vibe.
Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah, so, at one time, and so when I got cleaning off drugs, and they came into start living with me, her and her sister. Addie's never had a problem with her weight. She's always just been thin.
Yeah.
I don't know what. But anyway, Maddie was just like, well, Mama, when I start gaining weight, she's like, we just meant to be big. Why are you trying to lose weight? It's not meant for you to be small. And I'm like, no, that's not right. So I'm going in one direction. Her and Andy was still eating, going in, gaining weight and all. And I'm just like,
that's hard. Is it hard to have that around?
To a degree, because I'm always wanting to go out to eat. And I did too. I know.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm just thinking oh my God. So now I got to try to figure out what can I have at Longhorn.
Yeah.
We're going to Longhorn. I'm like, so. Anyway, I learned how to, just recreate my environment. My family likes to go out to eat. We like to go out to eat.
Yeah.
I can still go out to eat. I can still lose weight. I don't have to sit there and be a party pooper.
Yeah.
But I knew that for a while. I'm sorry. I would bring my scale with me in to the restaurant. And then it got just where I could just kind of eyeball and make little tweaks like, hey, give me a baked potato. I don't want it loaded. I don't want the butter.
Sure, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, or give me the butter on the side, and I would kind of make my own little. So Tay, but I just couldn't accept that.
Yeah, I get it.
It took my daughter a while to get, but then eventually she's like, you know what? Hey, she says, Mama, because she's going to school to be an RN. She's just like you, smart. She's just old, but she's old fashioned. I love it. And her doctor was like, she loved her. Is a pediatrician at the time because she was 17. She's 21 now. But he was telling her about the calorie tracking app and a workout app, and she told me about these things. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to use the workout app. Okay. And the calorie, I'm not tracking calories. I'm just going to eat. But eventually, all it came into play. And she saw it working for me.
Right.
Over, the first year, I tracked calories for 7 months.
Sure.
I was tracking them. It created awareness, but I didn't have the discipline to stay into a deficit.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just like everybody else.
I know.
Egg whites, caught it whatever. And then eventually I just, put all those things in my life, and things started unfolding for me on into the second year. And she was able to see this. And she saw, and it was like, okay, well, then she started counting calories too and making meals that were friendly for the entire family.
Gotcha.
Andy in the back, I'm not eating no lean ground beef. I want the grease in it. And eventually, just slow and gradually, everybody just kind of, and then it's just, like I say, she's still working on it.
It's a process.
Yeah, but she's, I'm just so proud of her. And so tell people, nobody cares that you're on a diet.
Yeah,
like, everywhere you go, it's just going to make it worse, just do what you need to do. And when you begin to take yourself seriously, everybody around you will begin to take you seriously.
Exactly. And that's something I experienced myself when I started fasting. Can you imagine? But let me tell you, my first fast, it was unleavened bread and water, because that was, what Jesus told his disciples. Mm-hmm. And I went to the store, to the kosher aisle, and got my unleavened bread.
Okay.
This is during, again, April. So I'm invited to a birthday party for an 87-year-old woman. Yeah. So she's going to have cake. And she had 2 cakes, honey. Yeah. She's just that, particular. Yeah. And they had the pizza party, and I'm sitting there like, I'm fasting. Can you imagine smelling pizza on your first fast?
Yes.
And getting poked at and made fun of?
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, and not then, but later on, I had my little epiphany, and I said, this is why you shouldn't brag about fasting. And it's even told to not mention it. Because this is your form of being obedient to God.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to do this between you and him.
Yes.
And I learned then, this is not for anybody else.
Yes.
It's not, no one needs to know I'm on a diet. Like you said, no one cares you're on a diet. None of that. Yeah. So, when I go out with my girlfriends or whomever else and I'm not drinking, oh, you ain't drinking? You pregnant? I'm like, hell.
Yeah. It's better be something major wrong if you ain't throwing one
Girl,
back.
every time. You pregnant? Like, what? No.
Yeah.
I don't want alcohol.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how the norms are not the norms.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, health is not a norm thing.
It's not. It's not.
It's not normal to be healthy.
I can't tell you how many times that I would go to family events and, barbecue. And, I tell people, the hamburger meat, the 80, whatever.
80-20?
Yeah, 80-20. Yeah,
that's my go-to.
Yeah. Everybody got that at the barbecue. It's the cheapest one. It's the most fat one. Yeah. So I'm bringing my scale. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like a complete butthole of always going on a diet.
But you know what you're going into.
I knew what I had to do. Yeah, like I tell people, you bring your scale. My daughter would act like, Mama, you bring your scale. It's a difference between good and great. I want to be great.
Yeah,
I
get it. I totally get it. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, and so people just don't have the humility to be a beginner.
I know.
And even
oh my God.
Yeah. And my husband, Andy, he's always supported me, but he would just, him and Maddie would tease sometimes. And even Addie, the skinny one, the little one, they go, oh, Mama got away. Mama got away. She
That's so funny.
Yeah. And now I have scale. We have food scales all over the house. Me and Maddie, everything. I mean, it's crazy. Even some things that I'll just like, Maddie, it says 21. We have these some little rice cake miniature things.
Okay, sure.
Like 21 of them is XX amount of calories. So I just count them out. Mm-hmm. And I just see Maddie over there pour them in a bowl in the scale. I'm like, look at Miss Fancy. So it follows.
Amazing.
This is the person that, she used to tease me. Like, Mama, I can't believe you bring these. Like, oh my God.
But that's amazing that, we talk about habits. You're creating new habits, and they're good habits.
Yeah,
so that's perfectly fine.
Now,
I know we said a lot, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do want to ask if you could talk to your clients right now, those who are already on your journey or those who are wanting to start, a weight loss journey. What can you say because you said something big? No one wants to be a beginner, and that's really big. And people don't like the day one, starting over, and getting off track, whatever the case may be. What encouraging words do you have for them?
Go ahead and accept that you're going to suck at it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Just go ahead and accept it.
Sure.
That was the one thing that helped me. Go ahead and accept it, and just, you have to be to a point to where how you're feeling, what you're seeing, all of these things. And like I say, I never encourage anybody to hate themselves.
Sure.
But it's okay to hate what you see if you can change it. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if all of that stuff has to look infinitely worse than what it does to start learning all of these new things about how to eat, how to track food. And at the end of the day, to me, all of those things, I think sometimes people hate that it's not complicated. Okay? Because really, it's not. People don't like that, okay?
It's not complicated.
It's just hard. I will say that it's hard.
Sure.
It's hard to, maybe say no to certain foods, or maybe even sometimes certain events. Sometimes it's hard to go to certain events and just try to map out in your head, before I get here, I know this and that's going to be there. I can probably have one slice of pizza.
Girl, the fair.
Maybe a pizza. Oh, my Lord. Girl, yeah. Things like that. And so even with me, and I don't like to tell people, and then sometimes you have to look at it from this standpoint. You know, some people say cheat meals or whatever, but I learned this from the guy on Higher Up Wellness, is that I don't look at it like a cheap meal. Just look at it like, sometimes I tell myself, when me and my daughter went to the fair, I just want fair food. I know it's fixing to cost me probably 3,000 calories, but I'm doing it. You know, I'm going to do this, and that's okay. Like you say, I was okay with that.
Right.
The next day, guess what? I'm back
on
up.
it.
You know, egg whites, egg whatever. You know, back to my normal routine.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, so sometimes it's just not worth the experience and the you know, the joy you get from with family and things. But now, if you got a family that likes to cook out and everything, you're gonna have to retweak your life a little bit.
Sure.
You know, but yeah, it's just all about just go ahead and accept now that you're going to suck at it for a long time.
Yeah. And that's okay.
It's okay. People ask me, you know, how long did it take you to get your results? And I say 2 years. But here's the thing. I spent the first year, you know, effing
trying
up.
to figure it out.
The reason why I'm so good at it now is because I spent years effing it up, you know, and that's just the truth. So the first year was lots of trial and error, lots of this didn't work, but just because it didn't work, I didn't quit. You know, like you said, it's okay to like regression. The keto diet, I lost 12 pounds. Imagine how it felt to like, yes, the scale finally moved. Past the 10-pound mark too. Oh yeah. And then all of a sudden, like you say, I felt like crap. I just, you know, so it's like, and then guess what? Scale back up even a little bit more. But I just kept digging, kept going, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah, that is okay. Also, how can they find you if they want to reach out to you for any kind of, you know, inquiries or anything?
Okay. You can do I check my spam messages on Messenger on Facebook every once in a while, but also my email is aberry0306@gmail.com.
All right, I'll put that in on the screen for them. So if you are looking for a personal trainer or some encouragement, her page is awesome. She is showing you everything.
And you can also click the little link in my bio on TikTok and on Facebook. I have like workout. What is it like? It gives you access to my database with workouts. So it's just like it's beginner friendly workouts, cardio, people that's more experienced in the gym, and also just the workout that I've used for years.
Gotcha.
I put that in there as well. And if you would like weight loss coaching, it's just a one-time fee of $50.
Okay, cool. That's easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's also just giving free information on her Facebook.
Oh, yeah. And if you like me and you just, and this, you know, I'm just being honest. If you just feel like digging, and I try to put it, you know, keep it where y'all can keep up. It's there. Information's there.
It's a lot of information there. So
and occasionally it makes me feel so great. Someone to comment that I don't even know from Adam, like, hey, you know what? This is absolutely right what she's saying. I've lost 35 pounds. I've been following her since such and such. One guy said he even lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
And I was like, what? So yeah.
It's good for you and everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
I want this for everybody.
Yeah. We do need to be a healthier nation in society for sure.
Absolutely.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, because our country's not going to do it for us.
No.
Yeah, you go to the restaurant. If you don't know how to tweak your food and tweak that menu, baby.
I told you about the Brussels sprouts.
Oh, girl.
Isn't that freaking insane?
It's insane.
A cup of Brussels sprouts are usually like between 40 and 60 calories. The ones at that restaurant were over 1,000.
Yeah. That's
insane.
Yeah. And when you learn the education behind food choices, all you gotta do is say, hey, like you said, give me Brussels sprouts. I don't want the brown sugar. I don't want this and that. You know, and that's how I do.
I wonder how much sugar you have to put on to really get the calories up like that.
Girl.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't even want to think about it. That's ridiculous. And probably the butter to give it that, you know,
Yeah. I said no thank you.
Yeah, I love the baked sweet potatoes, but I would tell, keep the brown sugar and the butter, you know, keep it.
Yeah.
Give me
so you have to modify your meals like that. Feel free to do so.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming. I know
I
it was a lot.
It was
so much information. But we'll put this out, and we have to do it again because there might be more that we can dig into. And I mean, I think they love you anyway. So they do. I see your followers out there.
We still gotta get up on that yoga.
We do. I'm thinking about doing some classes here, just like a small little, hey, come and stretch and breathe. That's it.
Yeah. That'd be great.
But thank you again. And until next time, I need to find a podcast name. I don't have a podcast name yet.
Figure it out. We'll figure
might just be my name.
Don't let me get it. You figure it out. I'll be texting you.
Bye, y'all.
Oh my goodness. Funny. Yeah. You remember me,